Hello everyone, this is Professor Robert Solis. Welcome to this video lesson. I want to show you how we are going to write data to a file, and I also want to introduce you to this idea of including a menu strip and also a file dialog box, how we are going to save based on these dialog boxes. So there's a lot of stuff to reveal to you in this particular video lesson. Well, the first thing that I did was to add a bunch of labels, and in fact, let me just go ahead and open up the properties panel. So these are all labels down here, and these are going to be text boxes. Let's see here, how come it's not showing here? Let me go here, pin that down, and let's see here. There we go. All right, so yeah, so these are the various text boxes over here, and so what did I name this guy? So you can keep your eyes over here, so that way you know what to type in for your program. So I typed, let's see, txt first name, txt last name, txt birth month, txt birth day, txt birth year, txt GPA. And then I typed in student data for the name, for the text property for our form. And you can see all these various labels over here. Now, what I also did was, let me go ahead and go to the toolbox and pin that down. And let's see here, menus and toolbars. So what I did was I said menu strip, and I dragged and dropped that menu strip right on top of here. So let me just, actually, you know what I should do? Let me just open up another version of Visual Studio here so I can show you what I did, and I'll just go back and forth. So here's Visual Studio, and let me go ahead and create a new project. It's going to be C#. It's calling it Windows Form App 2. That's fine. I'm just going to use this kind of like a dummy app just to show you what I did really quickly. So I go back over here to the toolbox, and let me go to menus and toolbars, and I'll take this menu strip and I'll just simply drag and drop it over here, let go. So over here it's called menu strip, but I use the Hungarian notation MNU. So let me go back over here. The name that I used was MNU. That's the Hungarian notation, and in this case this is going to be the file menu option. So let me switch back over here to my dummy app. This is what I did. Over here it says type here. I'm going to go ahead and select this, and I'll type in the word file. Enter. All right. So that's why you see the word file over here, because I typed it like that. Now, you also see that underline underneath the letter F. Well, that's because I put an ampersand in front of that. Let me switch back to my dummy app. So let me go ahead and change this guy over here. And on the text property, whoops, we go down here to the text property, and I'm going to put an ampersand in front of that. What does the ampersand do? Well, check this out. I'm going to go ahead and run the application. Well, you know that what a menu strip does, it allows you to click things, and you have a drop down. So if I click this, well, there's no drop down because I haven't selected anything. But if I hit the alternate key on the keyboard, now notice that the letter F is underlined. Okay, let's see. Let's change this now. Let me put the ampersand in front of the letter E. I don't know why I would do that, but we're experimenting. I'm going to go ahead and run the program, and I'm going to press the alternate keyboard on my key. Look at the letter E is underlined. So we call that the alternate keyboard shortcut. Let's do this. Over here in a submenu, I'm going to type in quit, say for example. And I'll put the ampersand in front of the letter Q. All right, so let me run the program. And if I type, or if I click rather on file, here's quit. All right, let me go ahead and unselect that, press Alt on the keyboard. There's E. Let me press the letter E. And there's the letter Q over there. It has an underline. Now if I click Q, nothing's going to happen because there's no code. If you want to establish code for this particular menu item, you would double click it. But before I do that, again, let me just show you what I did over here. So I created F, or a file rather, and then a submenu would be save, and another one would be exit. And you'll see over here that I have a ampersand in front of the letter X, an ampersand in front of the letter A, and an ampersand in front of the letter F. Let me go back to my dummy app, and let's say that when a user clicks this, we want to quit the program, right? So the name that I'll give is MNU, and then I'll type in the word quit. Now I'll double click this, and it takes me to the code area. And let's say that I just want to close the program. Well, over here you can see from my exit program, how do I do that? It's just close, open and close parentheses with semicolon. So close, open and close parens with a semicolon. Let me run this dummy app, and let's see what happens. So file, quit. Nice. Let me run the program again. This time I'm going to use the alternate keyboard shortcut. So I press Alt, and then I press the letter E, and then I press the letter Q on my keyboard, and it quit the program. Isn't that nice? So this is a really cool, let me go back to my real app now. This is a very cool item to use, these menu items, these menu strips I should say, because then you can add as many as you want horizontally, and then each of them have a drop down. So you just simply type in whatever it is that you want. Now, by the way, you'll notice this guy over here, this guy is just a particular line, right? Let me go back to my dummy app. So let's see, how do I do that? So let's say that I want to put a line over here. So I'm going to enter a hyphen and then press enter. Wow, look at that. Presses a line. And then over here, what do I want to do? I want to open. Boy, this thing is all messed up, right? Open should be on the top, quit should be on the bottom. But I just wanted to show you how to get that line right there. Okay, let me go back to my real app. I just simply typed in hyphen, pressed enter, and it's going to give me that line. And then underneath, I have exit, which as you can see here, I called it MNU exit. And I put the ampersand in front of the letter X for the text property, so I can use that alternate keyboard shortcut. Okay? All right, so when I double click on exit, this is what it's going to do. It's just simply going to close the program. Now, what do I want to do when I click save? What I would like to do is to take all of these items and save them to a text file. And I would like for them to have some sort of delimiter, like comma delimited, which means, let's say, for example, that I typed in Robert Solis 42665. All right, so it would say Robert. The text file would have the word Robert, comma, Solis, comma, 4, comma, so forth and so on, right? It's going to have my information in a comma delimited format. That's what I would like to do when I click File and when I click Save. But before I do that, let me just open up Notepad, right? Let's see here, Notepad. Yeah, that's what I want to open up. Let's see how Notepad works. So if I type in blah, 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 and I want to save that, I click File, I click Save, and it opens up this guy right here. We call this a dialog, this thing that I'm moving around. And this dialog is allowing me to save content on a particular location on my hard drive. Where do I want to save this? On the Documents folder, in the Movies folder, the Music folder? And I can keep on drilling down. You'll notice that there's a particular filter. It's saying, what type of file do you want to save this thing as? And in this case, I'm indicating I want to save this as a text file. If this were a Paint program, I'd want to save it as a JPEG image. If this were a music program, I'd want to save it as an MP3, so forth and so on. So it's letting the user, namely me, know you're about to save a text file. Now, what do you want to call it? And I can type in a name and I can save it. I can save it to a particular location. Wouldn't that be great to bring in one of these dialog boxes into our program? Well, let's do so. And the way we're going to do that is as follows. First of all, let me go ahead and close Notepad. I do not want to save. So let's see here. It looks like over here I have dialogues. Oh, look at that. So I have an open file dialog, a save file dialog. Look at this. You got font, color. I mean, you got all kinds of really cool dialogues. So what I did was I took this file dialog and I dragged and dropped it to the form. All right, so I'm going to go to my dummy program and show you what I did. So I went over here to dialogs, and I don't even have to drag and drop. I can just simply click this guy, click over here, and you see that it adds a file dialog. Now I changed the name to save FD. All right, so you see over here, this is going to be my save file dialog. Go back here to the pointer. All right, so this is my save file dialog. All you have to do is just drag it to the form, change the name, and now we can programmatically refer to this save file dialog, which is going to open up that little window. How do I do that? Okay, well, first of all, let me click File, and let me click on Save, or double click on Save, and then that's going to take me into this particular location over here in my code, MNU Save Click. What do I want to do when the user clicks the Save menu option? Well, the first thing that I'm going to need to do is to get the file name, right? I need to determine what that file name is. And then I need to determine what the text is that's going to be delimited. And I want to have certain items that have, let's see here, like a title on that particular dialog. So let me run the program and I'll show you what I'm talking about. When I click File and I click Save, all right, Save Student Data. Well, now that you know that's where this comes from, right? So for the Save File dialog, I want you to display a title. It's going to say Save student data. Oh, that's what it is. It says that. Oh, by the way, what is the default extension? The default extension is txt. In other words, I intend on saving text files. So how do I do that? Save fd dot, and then you'll see the drop will show you default extension. And so I want a txt file. Let me move this over a little bit here. Actually, I'll move it underneath here. Notice this guy over here. It says save fd dot, and then when the filter option, or you'll see with the filter option, we select that. Now notice over here that this says txt files, and then this is the wildcard.txt. This is just an indication of Windows that I'm going to save this as a text file. And you'll notice over here, that's exactly what this does. So what I typed over here is exactly what's being displayed over here. Now watch, when I click this, there's also an all files asterisk period asterisk option. Well, that's because I have this here. Let me close this. Let me cancel it. And I'll move this out of the way over here. Oh, that's because I have the all file. So this pipe, which that key is located above your enter button. It's this vertical line with the backward slash on your keyboard right above return or enter. So it's a separator. So I can either display this or I can display this. And so you see what it looks like. It's showing you that you're displaying this means you're going to want to take a look at all text files. Or you're displaying this, which means you're going to want to take in every single file, all files. So that's how you create a filter. And so that's why you see over here, when I say save, here's the first filter. Here's the second filter. Right? We go back to the first filter. And that's exactly what's being displayed based on this filter property. All right, so here's what I want to do. Let's take the person's first name, which is over here, and let's concatenate that with a comma. And we're going to concatenate that with the person's last name, which is located over here. And then we're going to concatenate that with a comma. And then we're going to concatenate that with the person's birth month, and so forth and so on, all the way to the text birth year. Now, I could have also added the GPA as well. So let me go back over here. I'm going to close the program. And I'm going to say I want you to also concatenate txt GPA dot text, right? Oh, but before I do that, I had better concatenate a comma and then put that concatenation operator. So all of these items, let me go ahead and run the program. All of these items from here to here to here to here are going to be concatenated together. They are going to have a comma delimiter, in other words, a comma in between all of them. And I'm going to put that into a text that I created up here, a string, called delimited text. Okay, so now I have this thing, and I would like to save that to a file. Well, first of all, it could be that the user clicks on save and decides, I don't want to save the data yet, so I'm going to click cancel. Well, that's what this part takes care of. If the user, right, so save file dialog, if save file dialog dot show dialog, open and close parens, if that is equivalent to the user clicking the cancel button, then just simply return, which is basically, this return statement basically says ignore the rest of the code. If there is any other code, just get out of this particular sub. And so as you can see here, it returns back to here. But if the user clicked saved and then type something and then click save, what do you want to do? Well, in this case, here's what I want to do. So if they clicked OK, which is this guy right here, right? It's saved, but really that's what's meant by here by OK. If I click that, then what do I want to do? Well, the first thing that I want to do is, what file name did the user type? So over here, let's see here. Let me go ahead and type in save. I better save something first, right? So let me type in Faye King. Get it? Faking? Fake person? Oh, not very funny. Okay, so let's say that you were born in January the 1st, 2017, and you're a very good student. So you have a 4.0 GPA. Let me go ahead and click File. Let me click Save. Where do I want to save this data? All right, let's say that I want to save it onto the desktop. And what am I going to call it? I'm going to call it Faye King record, say for example. It's going to save it as a text file. So I click Save. All right, and so over here, now I'm running this on my Macintosh, running Windows, so it's going to save it on the desktop. That's fine. So I'm just going to click save. That's okay. Did it do it? Let's see here. Let me open up File Explorer. Let's go to the desktop. And let me... there's faking record. Oh boy, it's a text document. Let me double click it. Let's see here what happens. Did I double click? Sorry. Double click. And I'm going to open a notepad. That's fine. And that's okay. Look at that. Faye King. January 1st, 2007. I have a 4.0 GPA. And notice all the commas. This thing is comma delimited. Wow. Whew, sense of relief here. The program works. It is saving data to a text file because that's exactly what I've commanded you to do. Get the file name that was typed over here. Well, what did I do? When I click save over here, I typed in Faye King. And it's going to save that internally as a text file. That's what I created over here. A string, I should say, a string. And so that now is going to have the file name. All right, so once I have that, I need to write the data externally to the hard drive. How do I do that? Well, you can type in system.io, which is an abbreviation for input-output.file.write all text. It's exactly what I want to do. Where do I want to write all the text to? I want to write it to this new file name that I called faking record. Now, what is it that you want to write to this particular file? Oh, I want you to write whatever is inside of this string called delimited text, which, as you know previously, was simply the concatenation of the first name, last name, birth, month, day, year, GPA. Take all of this data and put it inside of this particular file. So let me stop the program so we can take a look at this, see what happens. And I better, is the program running? Yeah, the program's running, so let me stop it. Let's see, let me start, and I'll say Faye King 1 tab 2017 4.0. Tap on the file menu option, tap on save. Okay, we're going to stop the program here. Now right now you see that delimited text is nothing. That's why you see the open and close quote. Let me go ahead and step over, and now if I hover on top of delimited text, now you see Faye, comma, King, comma, blah 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 blah. All the stuff that was in the text boxes. All right, now we are going to show that dialog box. So let me go ahead and let me just stop the code right here so we can see what happens. And I'm going to click continue. Here's the dialog box. All right, so this is going to be my, let's say this is going to be my King Faye backwards, right? Record. And I'm going to save this on my desktop. And let's see, so because I'm running this on the Mac, it's saying, hey, you're going to put this on your Mac home desktop drive? Yeah, that's fine. I'll click save. All right, so now what I'm doing here is if I hover on top of this, save fd.file name is this guy right here. Every time I move my mouse pointer, it's disappearing, but I want you guys to look over here. So you'll notice it says Mac home desktop faking record.txt. Yep, that's exactly what I want. I want you to put that into this string, which currently is empty. So let me step over and go back over here, hover. Now you can see that this guy includes the path and the file name, which is exactly what the user typed. All right, now system.io.file.write all text is going to say, okay, we're going to take this data, which is this right here, Faye, comma, King, comma, blah, 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 and we're going to put it or write it to a file because that's what you want it to do. You want it to write all text. So that's where we're frozen in time here. Let me just go ahead and click continue. And so now we're done. Let me close this. Let's go back to my File Explorer. And let's see here. Oh, there's King Faye record. Double click. Wow, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So that is how you write stuff to a file. Later on in the course, we're going to talk about reading data. So see, the reason why you want to save data to a file is because you intend later on to retrieve it. And so we're in essence saving a bunch of records. Wouldn't that be cool now if I included something like file open, say for example, so I can open from a previously saved execution of the program, make my modifications or my additions or whatever, save the data, close the program. I don't have to worry about anything because it's been written to an external file, and that means that I can read from an external file. We'll talk about that later. This is the first step. Also, I've introduced to you this idea of using a menu strip. I've also introduced to you this idea of using a file dialog. And in this case, this was a save file dialog, but next time we'll use an open file dialog to do the exact same thing, which is to create this beautiful creature right here. Look at that. It's all taken care of for us. Select a location, type in a particular file, or maybe select a file that's already been created, and we're just simply going to overwrite it, say for example. What if I wanted to append to the file? I mean, we get to learn about all that stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so this is Professor Robert Solis. I hope this video lesson has been helpful. You guys have a good day. We'll see you next time.